Well, everybody, you know what's kind of funny is normally I do my whole little talk over the intro music thing and welcome everybody to the stream, but I just hit the wrong button, so we'll just jump right into it. It's all right anyway because we were starting a little bit late, so we might as well get into it. What's up? It's Techno Saturdays again here, brought to you by 343 Labs Music Production School in New York City, Berlin, and online. And yeah. Throwing myself off today somehow. That's all right. Maybe it was the earthquake yesterday. Maybe that's what did it. I was sitting on the couch and I felt at the, I live on the 10th floor of an apartment building and it definitely swayed. It definitely, it was startling. So interesting. I've never felt an earthquake before. It was, kind of cool. And I could say that because no one got hurt and, obviously, earthquakes can be bad, but it was interesting to experience that. I don't know if any of you guys watching are in New York, but yeah. I know some of you are out west, so probably some of you, it's like nothing, right? Like, oh, that happens all the time in California. And of course, there was that more serious earthquake in Taipei recently, so I don't mean to make light. But anyway, that's what's been on my mind today and yesterday. Stuff going on here at school, 343 Labs, teaching classes, starting another quarter of our one-year program. And it's always a hectic, busy time when we transfer from one quarter to the next and get started with the new round of classes. But it's amazing what's going on here. We've got all these new students coming in, new instructors starting new courses, or our good friend Kevin McHugh, who's been on the show, I was able to bring him in as an instructor here at 343 Labs as well. And I now have another instructor doing synthesis and sound design with me here, which is great because there's sometimes where they want to run classes and it's difficult to schedule. Now we can both be able to share the load, which is really excellent. He's in the other room doing that right now. And we got a live performance, Ableton live performance class going on with Alden. Lots of good things going on here at 343 Labs. And as ever, if you want to know more about what's going on, you've got those links below in the description to see what classes we have coming up. Learn more about our one-year program if that's something that might be interesting for you, like a full immersion, basically. And our next round of the one-year program starts in September, so you've got a little time. But applications are, rolling in. Really, there's a lot of interest. It's really great to be part of this growth that 343 Labs has seen this year. And right, I mentioned last time we've got a date set for the next electro feedback session here on the stream, and we've got our friend Jean-Paul Bondi, regular viewer, been in the electro scene a long time, in many different ways. Part of the music technology business as well, having worked with Isotope and Native Instruments for a little while, and I believe he's sort of independent now. We will talk about that, but he's going to join me in reviewing your tracks for feedback pretty soon. I keep blanking on the date. It's so funny. I'm going to say the 20th. What's 2 Saturdays from today? Yeah, Saturday, April 20th. We'll start at 12 or 1 p.m. I haven't nailed that down yet. We usually do a longer stream when we have the feedback sessions. So yeah, if you haven't joined our Discord already, the 343 Labs Discord in the Selway feedback channel, that's where you're going to post your submissions. Usually SoundCloud links are the way people mostly do it, but any kind of link we can play back or even download if we have to is welcome. Yeah, electro feedback, please. Whatever your style of electro is. If you're doing like, Doppler effect style stuff or Detroit stuff or old school 80s funk, electro funk, or man, I'd even take freestyle, but Miami bass. Yeah, anything that's got that 808, right? Anything that's got that futuristic, robotic electro vibe that we all love. IDM-ish stuff is cool too, but, on the dance floor side and more electronic than breaks, I would say. But yeah, you know what it is, electro fans. You know what you like, and that's what we're looking for. So, yeah. What's going on in the chat today? So I got to do this. I usually do this during the intro, but of course, my slippery fingers hit the wrong button on the stream deck. Who was first in the chat today? Let's see. Since we're talking about it, I believe was it the Metaphase first? We got the Metaphase here, Kobanya 3000, Luminous Cloud, Acid Bat, Josh Holiday, Camel P, Binary Botany. Live Society. Lee Sperry. Yeah, that's a new name. Nice that you're here for the real-time action. Henri de Carvalho, bonjour. Dave Sweetmiller. Is that another new name? Welcome. Did I say Mike Harding? No. Eli Groove Tiger. And yeah, Luminous Cloud is making a tune in Korg Gadget for the feedback session. Wait, your laptop is toasted? So that's cool though. I like that idea of setting limits. So even if your laptop wasn't toast right now, just what can you do with an iPad? What can you do with one app? That's cool. Korg Gadget is really powerful, actually. You know, what more do you need to make electro almost? I'm setting some limits. How about this for a segue? I'm setting some limits for myself today, and I've been slow, honestly, to start switching over to the update of Live 12 having come out in March. And of course, I've had the beta for a long time, but still, just with teaching and admin duties here at 343 Labs and family and so little time to just really sit down and, you know what? Actually, speaking of time, one of the things I was thinking about is one of the reasons I like doing this stream. Even when I'm a little bit unprepared, and full disclosure, today, it's been so busy this week that I didn't set up ahead of time for the stream. I was just like, let's see what happens today. But I did set limitations for myself. And that is only using new within, some limits, but trying to just look at new Live 12 features and devices to make a track, right? So I'm going to play with Meld a little bit. I'm going to play with Roar a little bit and use the MIDI generation stuff just to like make some patterns. Keeping it kind of a little trippy, weird techno today, at least what I was coming up with, and just coming up with these random patterns and tweaking the synth a little bit. So yeah, those are the limitations I'm setting. And I'm sorry, just getting distracted by the stream right here. Hey, Stefan Katic and Scott Beckson, welcome. And yes, thanks, Metaphase. New feature for the show, Selway, Segway. And then I'll cut to a clip of me riding around on one of those Segway scooter things. That would be really nerdy. Can't even get, those aren't even around anymore, right? But everybody has those like, those little, I don't know, gyro stabilized one wheel things now. I made a segue to a unrelated segue, and it all rhymes with Selway. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at myself today. I am honestly not in top form today. We are just stumbling through the intro of the show. Thanks very much for being cool and rolling along for the ride today. So we might as well just start making noise. I feel like I've totally flubbed my intro. Not feeling smooth at all. Let's move into some really nerdy, wonky techno. What do you say about that? Does it work? Oh, there's that kick drum. So yeah, I'm playing. I'm like, I've been remiss. I should have been playing around with these new features of Live 12 for months already. I'm slow to adopt, apparently. I think it just comes down to time. Like, as a middle-aged father and administrator and music production instructor, pretty much the only time I have to work on music is when I'm teaching or when I'm live streaming. Like there's been very little time to like just sit on my own and focus and like be artistic. So yeah, you're just getting raw, unfiltered me. That's what's happening. And in a way that's also cool because we're like, it's real. I'm not coming on here perfectly polished all the time. And hopefully we'll all still learn something together and have fun and make some crazy noises. We'll make some crazy noises. So you heard that kick drum happening. I'm playing around with Meld to start with and just generating patterns. I'm getting to know the MIDI clip generator, generate and transform, and the additional pitch and time controls that are in these. I do play with MIDI a lot, and I use sequencers a lot, and I'll do like that. I'll just put in random notes. So that's kind of what this is doing for me. Is it's giving some more. It's giving me randomness and pattern generation and variation There's a lot of there's so much different, there's so many permutations and combinations that can come out of this thing. Anyway, let's listen to this. I don't even remember what it sounds like now since I started talking. Let's hear what this pattern that I generated sounds like. Right, so I'm getting to know like what this thing sounds like and using it in a particular techno context. But basically, we've got, in terms of what Meld is doing, I've got these noisy shapes. I'm honestly still trying to decide how much I like this synth. I've used it a few times now. I'm still playing around. It's going to take some getting used to the interface and everything. I think what I do like most about it is it's covering a lot of complex types of synthesis, but in a simple, controllable way. So going through all these different oscillator types, right? And you're getting inside of that, you're getting like a little wavetable, a little FM, a little this, a little that. There's some complex stuff happening under the hood, but you don't have to. It's the kind of thing that in another synth you might have to set up for yourself, routing oscillator, or whatever. But here it's just there with two controls. So that's cool about it. It's easy and fast to get weird, which is good for techno for sure. So I've got these noisy shapes. Oscillator, which has got some noise in it. And yeah, I just got this simple little noisy, short, percussive thing going on. And then using oscillator B, which is doing something more harmonic. And we have all these, I mean, everybody's done tutorials on this. I'm sure you guys have already watched about all this stuff with the, Live 12 and the scale awareness and how in certain devices it can follow along what the notes in the scale are, and even inside of these oscillators. See, that's a cool new thing to have harmonically tunable frequencies inside of an oscillator. I like that too. You can hear there's already some distortion going on here, but it's not roar yet. It's just the internal drive. There it is, a little more clean. Got some kind of, I guess that's pitch modulation, detuning or something. It's waving around. But the spacing is what's doing the harmonic tuning. All right, so those together, plus a kick drum, and we're making techno. I didn't start out with a hardcore kick like that. I started out with just that. Because again, I'm still just exploring, right? I don't know what I'm doing here yet. I'm using the DS kick. I'm trying to stick to as much just live native elements, right? Just keeping it simple, not spending too much time looking through plugins and presets, just going for what's fast. And trying to decide what to do with this. It got hardcore. I'm using the multi-band routing for the roar. And basically, just hyping up the transient a little bit with a little bit of clipping. This fractal clipper is nice. It adds a lot of air to the sound. It adds a lot of highs to the sound. I almost don't even need this little thin high band on top. It's just making it louder and brighter. But then what I need to decide on is all the character of this. Like, do I want to go that heavy? It sounds good. I like how with some with this kind of multi-band processing and distortion, and it's not just distortion, it's also compression and limiting. You can get so precise about what part of the sound you're affecting. So anyway, oh, Doug's here. What's up, Doug? Nice to see you. Luminous Cloud says he wants to drop an electro beat over this. Absolutely. You should. Right now. No, maybe I will. Maybe we'll do techno and electro today. But right now I'm just doing the heavy kick. I like this. I was going through the different, here, let's turn off the mid and high band. I was going through these different shapes in the distortion, in the roar, just to see what do I want on this. What kind of character do I want on this? There's the bit crushing, tube, diode, half rectified, full rectified. I'm not sure what poly is. It sounds like it sounds like sine wave shaping, even though it's not, but looks like it. There's a sine wave in that shape there. And then I like fractal, as I said earlier. It's like it's adding, yeah, it's definitely adding very specific harmonics on top of that. And then we got trifold, all right, and Noise. This is the one I ended up liking because it has this nice stereo air to it, but it is a little, oh, the bias, don't forget about the bias. It is a little hardcore, right? It's a little old school 90s gabber, but light. I don't know, it's not really, but I don't know, I was thinking back, I like some of that 90s distorted kick, but with trippy synths on top, so it's not super ravey, it's more like it's like minimal but harder. I don't know, it's kind of, you know what I mean. So I'm still thinking, I'm still deciding if I want to go this aggressive, but I can tone it down with the bias maybe, so it's less boomy. I'm losing some sub, but maybe I'll put it back in with another layer of somewhere else. I just like how I can sculpt all these frequencies and all these overtones and noise that are being created. It's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, I mean the sub's gone now, whatever. But I do like taking it and doing this bias a little bit. Okay. Let's go back to Meld. And play around with the sound a little bit here. I'm playing around with, I always do this, I always automate or modulate envelopes. So that's a potential thing to play with in an arrangement. And we can do the same. Here I don't like it as much. I want to keep this one shorter. And I actually like what happens to the sound when I drive it, when I clip it. So that gave me the idea of what if I take a complex, sort of resonant, noisy synth sound like this and put it through roar, right? So that was sort of the next step. There's also what's going on here. Let me turn off A. There's also what's going on here with this vowel filter. And I'm still getting used to this. Just this, I mean, it's a similar matrix that like Live's wavetable synth has. After using synths like Pigments, where it has an interface where it's so easy to choose and assign and see modulation routings, I don't like these grid matrices anymore. Like, I get it, but I always feel like I get slowed down. Would it be so hard for Ableton to make a context menu where you could like even like in Serum, where you can right click and like choose a modulator? I know it would make complex menus. Who knows? Maybe there's a better, UI developer. Was one of you out there know about this kind of stuff, like user interface, how that works? But like, how could Live improve? Maybe this is the only way to do it in their system. Like maybe this is the most efficient way to do it. I just, maybe it's because I'm getting old and I need glasses, but this is a lot to look at. Anyway, sorry, rant over. What I was going to get to is I'm using the notes, the incoming MIDI notes, to control the filter frequency. So it's key tracking. A lot of synths have key tracking like right there in the interface, right next to the filter. That's pretty typical, but here we're going to find it under pitch. All right, so that's all it is I've got pitch tracking to the filter frequency. Nothing special, but it sounds cool in this sound. And there's so much variation I got just playing with this filter. Morphing this, just, it's changing where the resonant formants are. I like that. Oh, hey, what's up, Silver Knobs is in the house. Thank you very much. You're kind of Detroit. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like a little weird Detroit, trippy, minimal. Although I am going to ruin it with a kick drum that's too hard, but whatever. Shroomp is here from Belgium. Cool effects, love distortion. I agree. Let's put some on there. All right, so it's kind of, I put on the roar a little bit. I'm not doing any multi-band on this one. It's just one soft shaper. But you can hear how it kind of just warms it up, and the sound quality of roar is really good. All right, and then the other thing that's going on is the feedback. I mean, this is one of the when I'm playing around with roar, one of the first things I jump to is just turning the feedback on. I mean, it's delay, right? And I love how it's got chromatically tuned. It's like a comb filter, right? You can pick a note. So I picked a G. We got our filter on there. Let's get the noise back in there. It's kind of trippy, right? A little trancy with that droning note from the feedback now. So I can dial that back. Playing around with the amounts into the distortion is good. I like that. It's tickling my ears. And I'm definitely using the bias on this one. It sounds choppier. It sounds like it's gated because of the bias. Like that. That's a cool thing to play with. It sounds more aggressive like that. There was all right, I used seed to generate this pattern, and then I used add interval. It was originally a monophonic, like a single note pattern, and then I used add interval to add a scale degree up, and it added. Somehow when I was playing around, I got this octave up there by accident, which is like adding another layer to the energy of the rhythm. I'm gonna let's do that. I'm gonna duplicate this, and I can add that in the arrangement. Okay. Small difference, right? That's without that high notes. Adding a little extra on top. I think that's good. I love how it just starts breaking up when I push the distortion. So this thing has compression in there. It's got this high pass filter sidechain for the compression, which is good. At least to my ears, it sounds a little tighter with that on. Oh, that was a nice... There's some weird thing going on with the low frequencies when I changed that bias. It's more percussive and tight like this. It's like I brought in some low chords out of nowhere. There's the feedback. I love that. Oh man. Okay. I don't know. I want more at low end. Okay. Sorry. Wait. I got caught up there for a second. I need to take a breath. Okay, that got intense really quickly. I think I really like Roar a lot. I mean, I like the sound I made with Meld. It's cool, but it really came alive once I started playing around with the distortion and the feedback in Roar. Like, I'm definitely going to make a track out of this. This is crazy. Hey, what's up, everybody? More people in the chat. We got vaporwave culture. This sounds mental. Yes. Hey, Eli Groove Tiger's here. What's up? Adriano's here. Generally Respectful Freestyle. I think Generally Respectful Freestyle. You're my current favorite chat name. I like that. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Celeblin, did I say that right? Terrence Fixmer. Who are we talking about? Terrence Fixmer. Yeah, I mean a little bit. Terrence Fixmer has some kind of more aggressive industrial sounds. Could be. Binary Botany, you got my cat's attention. Really? Was it the feedback? It was like, what is that high frequency noise? Cool. Luminous Cloud wants me to submit this one for Lenny D's feedback. Yeah, maybe. I think this is like, it's still not hardcore. It's distorted, but it's not, it's a little more trippy. And yeah, maybe. So I'm curious. Silver Knobs was like saying he liked it before. It got a lot more aggressive now. Do you still like it? Cool. So yeah, I got to figure out what to do next now. We got another half an hour to go. We're halfway through now. It's 343 Labs Music Production School here is where I'm at, and Techno Saturdays is what I'm doing in the studio here at 343. We got classes going on. We got Kevin doing synthesis and sound design, just starting a new course today. It's the beginning of our new quarter. And, we do our 1-year program and we schedule everything in quarters. Each quarter they've got, a project to do for their class, and they've got what we call milestone projects. I think at least 2 tracks per quarter. I think more later in the year. For example, we have 2 cohorts in our program right now. And the first cohort, they're in their I want to say they're in their 3rd quarter now, yeah. And they just did for the end of their second, they did a remake. We have an advanced, we have 2 music composition classes, but I think we have this, sorry, I'm like losing the train of thought again. One of their assignments is to take a track or a song that they like and to recreate it. And it's a composition and music theory exercise because you've got to identify melodies and chords and rhythms and then all the arrangement stuff. But it's also kind of a production and sound design potentially if they get beyond using presets and samples. But like they have to try to make it sound something like the original too. It's a real challenge, and a lot of the students really stepped up. I wasn't sure. I thought, is that a little bit too much? We have a lot of people in our program that are starting as total beginners, and now they're already like recreating music from other people. But it doesn't matter how close you get to the original, just going through that process of learning how to transcribe music and recreate and replay music, and also listen to the sounds and either find sounds or make sounds that are reminiscent of or like the originals. That's an amazing process to go through. But that's just an example of the kind of stuff we do in our courses in 343 and in what our one-year program students are doing. So again, if you want to know more, you got the links below. You know what to do. All right, so that's my due diligence. That's my job. I got to talk about 343. But let's get back to you guys and to the techno. Metaphase is asking are you allowed to use Synplant too in that class? I think because it's a composition class that this assignment is for. You probably could, because honestly, I think the main point of it is the composition and arranging stuff more than the sound design stuff. So I think it probably would be okay to do that. But I don't think you're supposed to use like samples of the original. You have to somehow like recreate it, resynthesize it. I would say, if I was teaching the class, I would say yes. I can't speak for other instructors, but possibly yes. So, hey, it's Lester Fitzpatrick. We got Chicago Techno Royalty in the house. What's up? Nice to see you. Glad to have you in the chat. I'm even going to throw this out there. I'd love to have you as a guest on the show one day. Let's talk. I got a lot of your old records, Lester. So anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that off air sometime. I'll drop you a line. But let's see. I asked, what should we do next? And Camel P says hats. Let's add some hats to this. I think you're right. This doesn't need too much more. I might want to beef up the low end a little bit. I might want to put a little rumble in there, or like a deeper layer for the kick or something. But yeah, let's throw some hats in this. I'm going to tone down. I'm going to get back to let's bring it down. Yeah, I like that. To bring down some of the high sizzle on top of that oscillator. It's got the noise in it. Could also, how else could I tone this down? I'm trying to think about like when I start the track. Easy with the filters, right? Can play around with the envelope too. Okay. All right. I'm gonna ask you guys. What kind of hi-hats? Let's collaborate. Thanks, Lester. All right, I'm hearing just a fast 16th note in my head. I'm gonna just, while we're thinking about other ideas. Do a quick little 16th note, easy peasy. But that's too long. I need to shape that. More like that. Claps on the kicks. I could get there. Jacking, little Chicago-y. I'm down with that. And you're right, Scromantis. The hats are these are a little bit more like shakers. Actually, I can make them deliberately more like shakers. Let's just do, I'm going to keep it simple. Let's use the 909 for Mars. That's a pretty good kit, actually. Has some good sounds. It's going to take a second to load up. Adriano wants me to drop some roar on the hats. Okay, let's put roar on everything. That's what we're going to do. What? roar. I mean, yeah, meld is cool. Roar is useful for like everything. I mean, okay, roars, they're both good. What kind of craziness can we do with distortion on a high frequency sound like this? I don't know. I don't think, why I wouldn't bother with multiband, right? Because it's just, I actually kind of like when it gets the low frequency little pop in there from, that is good. Too much noise. Yeah, I mean, distortion on high frequencies is good too, right? I mean, you probably want to control it. I probably want to because I could be making so much crazy high frequency on that. Or look, there's the low end that's being added. This one already has, all right, I've filtered it a little bit already internally. I mean, if I modulate this, it's a delay, it's a phase, the flanger. Why not? I mean, normally I would just take a delay or a flanger and throw it on there, but I can just do it right here in Roar. Let's open up the modulation. This is going to be easier if I open it up. Wow, I'm getting stuck on these hi-hats. So we want feedback time. Which one did I choose? LFO1. Let's go free sync. Real slow. There we go. Slow it down a little bit. Does it sound good? I guess it does. The Metaface says it sounds like his sprinkler. Yeah, these are sprinkler hats. It's a new thing. All right, back to the open hi-hats. This one we're going to put roar on for sure. Pretty typical. Binary Botany's asking for some syncopation. We got, I mean, there's syncopation in this, right? But do you mean like in the percussion, I guess, in the hi-hats? There's syncopation in the closed hi-hats. Roar. It's gonna get loud. Bring that output down. Maybe compress it a little bit. And I love that I actually, you know, since I started producing techno with hardware back in the day, and I did the whole thing where you have your drums and all your samples and all your synths running through like a Mackie mixer with all the gains overdriven, and it sounded amazing. And just distorting an entire drum kit is always something that's cool, and I like that effect. So let's see, who else? Somebody wanted to clap on, I think it was Silver Knobs wanted to clap on with the, I'm gonna have to get these levels right. Someone said, you know, this is typical, right? Rides. Eighth note rides. Nothing new here, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I should be using sorry, I'm like, come on, select. There we go. Why isn't it doing it? There we go. I should be using the MIDI generator to do these. But you know what I've been finding for things like drums, specific drums that you do for specific genres? It's faster to just draw it in or play it in. The MIDI generation is cool, and I'm definitely going to use it for crazy stuff and experimental stuff, or when maybe I'm stuck for an idea and I want to do something different. Definitely going to use it for that. But a lot of this, I don't need to generate it. It's so simple too. It's the same drum patterns with variations, right? I don't have to like go crazy with MIDI tools to make these patterns. All right, so let's crunch the hell out of this. I kind of like these rectifier ones because they do this notch. They have this phasey sound. You could do like some nice parallel stuff with this. And I'm sure we do like do some nice tone shaping with this kind of distortion. It's like an interesting texture. I mean, okay. And we have all this modulation in here. What's that good for? What happens if we envelope follow like the filter or something? We'll see. See, now this is moving. So we got a shaper built in. That's awesome. If you use Max for Live devices, you already have an envelope follower, right? I'm adding character to my distortion. Let's see how that sounds with a kick. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna go a step further. Gonna do downward sawtooth at a 16th note. And have that do something too. Could even do the output. Oh, it's not synced. I'm cool with that. Something like that. It's like I'm adding a rhythmic noise layer to the 909. Let's see if it works. We got really banging today. I didn't expect to get this banging. Playing around the tone is cool. It's like it sounds like I've got a lower layer of percussion mixed in now. It's all just for modulating that filter and that amount of noise and everything. That's cool. And we haven't even gotten into the feedback yet. I don't know if we need to. Ooh. I like it. It's pretty. What just happened? Okay, so it's all that feedback is getting gated. I don't know what's going on. All right. I'm going to pan these sounds a little bit. That feedback's creating like a synth part. Could make a track just with this, playing around with the levels of the drums. Kind of loses the tone when I bring in the ride cymbal though. there's going to be some balancing to do here with that level. I might want to separate these. It'll be easier to mix if I were to make 2 layers of this, but I like where this is going. Accidentally getting into this kind of concept. I mean, we're using modulation to create a new layer of energy and rhythm in this beat, just with the distortion and the feedback and the LFOs and the envelope following. You know, and the reason why I might want this to be a separate layer is so I could, be more careful about processing it and stereo image and separation and blah, 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 right? But I like it. I like what's going on with this. Sound good with a bunch of reverb on it, probably. With some delay or something. I like it. Heavy duty. Speaking of reverb and delay. Alright. I'm going to ease up on you guys for a second. Like, what would it sound like? What would it sound like with less of a hardcore kick drum? I mean, I need to process this too, but maybe a little bit less brutal on this stuff. More like that, a little cleaner. Have a track. Maybe a couple other elements, atmospheric elements, fills. I don't want it to be too busy though. It's already pretty busy, now that, if I'm honest. Right, let's see what happens if I get rid of drums. There they are. Nice. I like that in a transition. That's going to be good. I'll put some reverb on it. Oh, man. All right. I think we've been having some fun today, sort of getting into it there. This is a track. I mean, simple, right? Started out with just me fooling around, playing around, not sure what was going to happen today. I told you at the top, I came into this unprepared other than I'm just going to use new live devices. I'm going to use Meld. I'm going to use Roar. I didn't show you how I did it, but I generated a MIDI pattern with this seed generate function here in the clip. And it was literally like, it was still random. Okay, let's just let that be one more thing. I'm going to make an empty MIDI clip here. And, this is how we started. That's it. But actually, I just made the clip only two beats. That's it. Now, one of the things I get caught up, I have to remember not to do is you'll notice as soon as I hit generate, it just added on top of the existing one. I find that a little bit annoying. But normally, all you have to do is just pick a pitch range, a note duration, a velocity range, and then a density. If you want to do something more simple, all you got to do is lower the density, increase the duration for more sort of possible syncopation. Anyway, that's just to throw that in there quickly. That's how I started today before I hit go on the stream here in OBS. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I guess we have a few more minutes. I feel like I'm cutting it off a little bit short, but let's just chill and bring it down, and I'll talk to the chat for a minute before before we stop the stream, and just going through your comments here. Lee Sperry says, incredibly inspiring. Might have to work at Ableton tomorrow as a change from Logic. Yes. That's actually something I want to try to bring into the stream more often is other platforms. I know a lot of you out there, most of you it seems use Live, but we've got our Logic users out there. We got our Bitwig users out there. I've had Carl Finlow using Bitwig, and I've had Commissar Lag using Reason, and I definitely and then Angel Alanis was here recently, which was awesome, and he uses Logic and Live, but I think primarily Logic, and yeah, definitely going to do more of that. So, but yeah, use whatever is inspiring for you. Vaporwave culture, sorry, says needs rumble. Yeah, I've been aware from the beginning of the stream that the low end is a little lacking, but I was kind of with the kick drum leaning more towards the tone and energy of the punch of the kick than the sub of the kick. I'm going to work on that, and you're right. It could use whether either a rumble or just some kind of low frequency layer. It is definitely missing that, so it will happen. Let's see, Stefan, nice. Oof, yeah, I like that. Thank you. And this is good, right? Silver Knobs, playing with rhythmic parts only brings a lot of inspiration. Yeah, and just I love doing that sometimes, just using drums and effects. And I mean, people have made a point of that. Richie Houghton used to do that. It was like Dex Effects in 909, right? But just the drums plus noise and effects there's so much possibility there. And that's a good idea you have. Make a challenge because we were talking about limitations earlier. Like I'm saying, I'm only going to use these certain devices. But make a feedback session, no bass, no synth techno. Yeah, why not? Maybe we'll do that. Let's see what everybody could come up with. Just drums and crazy noises and audio effects. I would love that. So what else we got going on here? Metaphase, arrange and print done. Yes. I'm with you. I don't want to add too much more to this track because I want to keep it raw. Lately, I've been feeling that. Like even with like the electro tracks, I'm like I want to make some tracks that aren't overproduced. I've noticed a tendency in a lot of my tracks. I mean, I like them too, but sometimes I keep going farther than I need to, and I'm trying to as I keep making new tracks and not finishing them, at least I'm trying to, maybe I'll be more likely to finish them if I don't overproduce it, if I just go for raw feeling and energy. And then, like you said, just lay it down, just record it and be done with it. Cyberpunk BG, FX Subverb, Ableton sound is perfect for sub. Is that something in the library here? I don't see it. Maybe it's spelled differently. Oh, there it is, FX Subverb. Oh, it's like a sample. All right. Yeah, why not? I'm going to throw that into the project so I don't forget. Thanks for the suggestion. I'll try it out. And cool. Vapor Abe wants to hear this on a big system. I want to hear it on a big system too. All right, let's wrap it up now. Nice chatting with all of you. Thanks for hanging out for this quick hour of techno craziness. And we'll be back on again next week. I might switch back to electro. Actually, no. I'm going to keep the next one techno, and then in 2 weeks, April 20th, mark your calendars. Those of you who are making electro, join Jean-Paul Bondy and I for an electro feedback session. Join the Discord, the link's below. Go to the Selway feedback channel, and that's where any info you need to know about submitting is there, and that's where you're going to post your links, whether it's a SoundCloud link or another sort of download link, whatever is cool. We'll deal with it. And yeah, looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with for our electro feedback session on April 20th. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. Adios.